As the probe. Let's bring in House Judiciary Committee member, New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew. Your committee, the Judiciary Committee, is one of those that has been authorized by the Speaker of the House to continue looking into the Biden issue. What are you finding?
We're finding so much. It's unbelievable. Look, Hunter Biden's a bad guy that did bad things. There's no question about that. We realize that. Whether it is, the $1.4 million of taxes that he evaded, whether it's the fact that he has now from the Department of Justice, their Department of Justice, 6 misdemeanors, 3 felonies, up to actually 17 years in prison possibly with all this. But any president can have a kid that's not so good. That's not the issue. The issue is that President Joe Biden was part of so many things that Hunter Biden was doing. We know he was on the phone calls with Burisma. We know he was on up to 20 different phone calls. We know that when Burisma, which was a corrupt energy agency, was complaining about being investigated by Viktor Shogun, who was a prosecutor in Ukraine, because it's a Ukrainian company, that the president found out about it. He was on the phone call. He went to Ukraine and said, cut it out, get rid of that prosecutor, or you're not getting any money. And Ukraine did get rid of the prosecutor. We know that the Biden family has received up to $20 million in aggregate from countries like Kazakhstan, Romania, China, Russia, Ukraine. What family is receiving this kind of money, and for what? We know that Hunter Biden received all kinds of foreign money, but didn't register as a foreign agent. It goes on and on and on. Joe Biden knew about it. He was involved with it, and we need to continue to investigate.
Your fellow Republican, in this case Mitt Romney, says you can't prosecute the father for the sins of the son. Listen.
President Biden's son, Hunter, is obviously been a very unsavory person and has had some extremely damaging personal foibles, including a drug habit and so forth. That's not President Biden, and we're not going to impeach someone because of the sins of their kids.
What would you say to the Utah senator?
I think he needs to do his homework more, to be honest with you. We're not I just made that point. We're not impeaching the father because of the son of the child. You know what? The children, we're not responsible for your children. They can turn out in a bad way. The deal here is, though, that Joe Biden, and we have proof of it, Devin Archer, who is a good friend and an associate of Hunter Biden, says that Joe Biden was involved every step of the way. Tony Bobulinski testified the same thing. Joe Biden was involved. He was involved with the deals. Joe Biden met with an oligarch, the richest oligarch in Russia, and then every other oligarch received a public sanction, but this one didn't. Money has flown into the family, which, by the way, has shell corporations. How many people listening and watching you right now, John, have shell corporations, have money flowing through? Checks were transferred from Joe's brother, Joe Biden's brother, to him on the exact day that he received money from a failed hospital corporation. In its bankruptcy papers, said that the reason we gave them the money is because we wanted to use the Biden name to help our failing corporation. It's all there. It has nothing to do with having a bad son. It has to do with having a bad president.
Well, Hunter Biden's attorney says this is all much ado about nothing. Here's the statement from Abby Lowell. He says, based on the facts and the law, if Hunter's last name was anything other than Biden, the charges in Delaware and now California would not have been brought. I might suggest that if his name wasn't Biden and, any American who didn't pay more than $1 million in taxes on millions of dollars of unreported income, that American would be in jail.
They would be, John. Not only would they be in jail, they'd be in jail for purchasing a gun using false information on a federal form. They'd be in jail for throwing that gun away into a dumpster. They'd be in jail for being inebriated and drugged up when they did it. And by the way, the $1.4 million that he didn't pay in taxes, he used for escorts. He used for luxury hotels, fancy cars, girlfriends, all kinds of stuff.
New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew, it's a big week ahead. Thanks for joining us.
It is. Thank you.
Still to come, the House Republicans' narrow majority is getting even tighter.